Alright, let's find some derivatives. Find the derivative of y equals 28 pi times the square root of 47. It doesn't matter how complicated the constant is, if it's just a number, then the derivative is 0. 28's a constant, pi is a constant, square roots are constant, and so the whole thing is just a straight line, horizontal line, and so my derivative is 0. So let's do something more interesting. Find dy dx, where f of x is equal to 3x squared plus 2. I'm going to use my power rule. You take your power, multiply it out front, so I've got 2 times my 3 that was already there, and then you subtract 1 from the exponent. So 2 minus 1 gives me 1, and then the derivative of a constant is 0. You don't even really have to show that. But for completeness, we'll show it here. So simplifying that, 2 times 3 gives me 6. You don't show the 1 on the x, you don't even have to write it once you get used to it. And then plus 0, there is my final answer. Do another one. Find the derivative of y equals 5 over x plus 1. For me to use my power rule, I can't have anything in the denominator. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to rewrite this as 5x to the negative 1. There was a 1 down here. When I move it up to the numerator, I flip the sign, and so I can write that as 5x to the negative 1, and then I still have my 1 here. Now let's take the derivative. So y prime is equal to, I'm going to take that exponent, multiply it out front, so I have negative 1 times my constant that was already there, and then I subtract 1 from the exponent. It was negative 1 minus 1 gives me negative 2, and then the derivative of a constant is 0. And so I can clean that up, make it pretty. Negative 1 times 5 is just 5. And then I'm going to take this and move it down to the denominator, which means I'll make my sign positive, and plus 0. Ta-da! Let's do another one. Find f prime of x, where f of x is equal to 2 square root of x. Once again, for me to use the power rule, I'm going to start by rewriting this. You can rewrite square roots as fractions, and that makes it a little bit easier to see what I need to do. I need to take this exponent, multiply it out front, so f prime of x is equal to 2 times 1/2. Sorry, I should have written the 1/2 first, but it's fine, same thing. And then if I subtract 1 from the exponent, I've got 1/2 minus 1 will give me negative 1/2. This 2 is going to cancel this 2, and so this is just equal to x to the negative 1/2. You could leave it like that, but let's go ahead and make it positive. In our final answers, we want our exponents to be positive, so I'll move it to the denominator. You could also write that as 1 over the square root of x, and this would probably be an answer choice. I would stop right here. If it was an open response question, I would certainly stop there, and that's probably how the answers will be on the homework key. But let's say you're taking a multiple choice test and this answer doesn't appear in your list of choices. It's possible that they rationalized the denominator, and so if I multiply top and bottom by the square root of x, you would get the square root of, oh no, I don't mean to scroll, oh gosh. You'd get the square root of x over x. So I would leave my answer like this, but if that wasn't an answer choice on a test, on a multiple choice test, then I might start looking for that one. I gotta figure out how I scrolled, that was convenient. Let's look at this one. Find the derivative of y equals 4x minus 2x squared times 3x minus 5. I don't really know how to handle things when I've got these two separate pieces of my function. Later I'll learn a product rule, but right now the only way I'm going to be able to solve this is if I factor this out. So let's do the work to factor it out. We'll FOIL it. For my first, I'll get 12x squared, outer minus 20x, inner minus 6x squared, and then last will be plus 10x squared. I've missed something. What did I do wrong? that should be minus 6x cubed. There we go. I had x squared and x, so that'll be minus 6x cubed. Clean that up a little bit. Put it in order. I've got negative 6x cubed. I've really messed this up, haven't I? There we go. For my outer, there was no squared. Watch me on these things. If we were in class, I'd want you to call me out on that. Alright, so I've got negative 6x cubed, and then combining my squared terms, I've got 22x squared minus 20x. Does that look good? Have I fixed all my mistakes? Sorry about that. Okay, now I haven't actually taken the derivative yet. All I've done is rewritten my function so that now I can take the derivative. So now if I want to find y prime, I can follow all my power rules. I'm going to do 3 times negative 6, and then subtract 1 from the exponent. I'm going to do 2 times 22, and then subtract 1 from the exponent. And then there's an understood 1 there. 1 times negative 20. And then I want you to see how this works. If I subtract 1, if I do x to the 1 minus 1, that gives me x to the 0. Anything raised to the 0 power is just 1, so this is negative 20 times 1, which is just negative 20. That's why our x disappears whenever we just have x to the first power. And that should be my final answer. Alright, we got one more problem. And I'm in another situation here where I don't know how to find the derivative of a fraction like this. But what I can do is I can split this up into all of its fractions before I start taking the derivative, and we'll see how things simplify. So I'm going to rewrite this as x cubed over 2x minus 4x squared over 2x plus 4x over 2x minus 2 over 2x. So I've split this up into all my individual fractions. And now I can simplify it. So I can say here, this x will cancel one of those. So I've got 1/2 x squared minus, and x will cancel an x. 4 over 2 is 2. And then over here, x cancels x. And then 4 over 2 is just 2. And then here, these cancel, and I'm left with 1 over x. But I'm going to go ahead and rewrite that as x to the negative 1, so I can follow my power rule. Now I'm ready to take the derivative. Y prime, or dy dx, or f prime of x, we've seen all those different forms, they all mean the same thing, will be 2 times 1/2, subtract 1 from the exponent, minus 2. Derivative of a constant is 0. And then over here I have minus 1, there's an understood 1 there, times my exponent. And then I subtract 1 from my exponent. And clean this up just a little bit. Y prime then becomes x minus 2 plus 1 over x squared. Done.